8 phrases a narcissist will use when they're trying to guilt trip you. If you've ever found yourself in a conversation with a narcissist, you know how quickly things can take a turn. One minute, everything seems fine, and the next, you're tangled in a web of guilt and second-guessing yourself. I've been there, and trust me, it's no accident. Narcissists have a way of using guilt as a weapon, twisting words to make you question your own actions and emotions. But here's the good news. Once you learn to recognize their go-to phrases, you can stop them in their tracks. So, let's break down the 8 phrases narcissists love to use when they're trying to guilt trip you, and how to see right through them. 1. You always Interactions with a narcissist can often feel like walking through a minefield, especially when they're trying to guilt trip you. One of their favorite tools? Absolute language. Narcissists have a knack for making sweeping generalizations, often using phrases like, "you always" or "you never." The aim? To make you feel like you're constantly falling short, all the while deflecting attention away from their own behavior. It's a classic guilt trip strategy. By making you feel as though you're always in the wrong, they can manipulate your emotions and control the narrative. These tactics are designed to place the blame on you and avoid taking responsibility for their actions. Nobody is perfect, and it's unreasonable for anyone to expect perfection from you. Stay aware, and don't let these phrases undermine your self-confidence. 2. Remember when you If there's one thing I've learned from my own encounters with narcissists, it's that they have an uncanny ability to dredge up the past. They use phrases like, "remember when you," to bring up old mistakes or missteps. This is their way of reminding you of your perceived failures and using them to manipulate your feelings of guilt. For example, I had a friend who would always bring up that one time I forgot her birthday, even years later. She used it as a guilt trip whenever she wanted something from me. It took me a while to realize that it was a manipulative tactic, not a genuine desire for an apology. Recognizing these phrases and their intentions can empower you to stand your ground and not let past mistakes define your present or future. 3. If you really cared about me. Narcissists often use phrases like, "if you really cared about me," as a guilt-inducing weapon. By questioning your feelings or commitment, they aim to make you prove your loyalty by doing what they want. The interesting thing is that this tactic is linked to a psychological phenomenon known as gaslighting. Gaslighting is a form of emotional abuse where the abuser manipulates situations repeatedly to trick the victim into distrusting their own memory, perception, and sanity. So when a narcissist says, "if you really cared about me, you would," they're essentially gaslighting you into doubting your own feelings and perceptions. Be aware of this tactic and remember that your feelings are valid and should not be manipulated for someone else's gain. 4. I can't believe you would. Another common phrase narcissists use to guilt trip is, "I can't believe you would." This phrase is designed to express shock or disappointment in your actions, making you second-guess your decisions and feel guilty about them. The aim here is to make you feel like you've crossed a line or broken a trust, even when you haven't. It's a form of emotional manipulation where the narcissist plays the victim to make you feel like the villain. Healthy relationships allow for disagreements and boundaries. You should never feel guilty for asserting yourself or making decisions that are in your best interest. Stand firm and don't let this manipulative phrase sway your confidence in your choices. 5. I did everything for you. Narcissists often use the phrase, "I did everything for you," to stir up feelings of indebtedness and guilt. It's a way for them to highlight their sacrifices and make you feel like you owe them something in return. This phrase tugs at your heartstrings, making you feel ungrateful and indebted. It's an emotional tactic that can make you feel beholden to them, which they then use to manipulate your actions. Keep in mind that acts of kindness or sacrifice in a relationship should not come with strings attached. You are not obligated to repay someone for their good deeds, especially not at the cost of your own well-being. Stand firm and know this. Guilt is not a currency you have to pay. 6. No one else would put up with you. One phrase that narcissists use to guilt trip and undermine your self-worth is "no one else would put up with you." They aim to make you feel like you're difficult, unlovable, and lucky to have them. I've been at the receiving end of this phrase, and it's a painful experience. It chips away at your self-esteem and makes you question your worthiness of love and respect. But this is just another tactic used by narcissists to control and manipulate. Your worth is not determined by someone else's ability or willingness to put up with you. You are deserving of love and respect just as you are. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. 7. After all I've done for you. This phrase is another classic guilt trip tactic used by narcissists. After all I've done for you, it's a way for them to remind you of their generosity or kindness and make you feel guilty for not reciprocating in the way they want. The purpose of this phrase is to make you feel like you're in debt to them, forcing you to comply with their demands out of a sense of obligation. Always remember that genuine acts of kindness should never be used as bargaining chips. You do not owe compliance to anyone, even if they've done things for you in the past. Stand your ground and don't let guilt sway your judgment. 8. It's all your fault. The ultimate guilt trip phrase used by narcissists is, "It's all your fault." This phrase is weaponized to shift all blame and responsibility onto you, making you feel guilty and deflecting attention from their own actions or behavior. This is very different from constructive criticism or accountability. Rather, it's a manipulative technique designed to make you feel like you're always the problem. It takes two to tango. Every situation involves actions and reactions from all parties involved. No one person can be solely responsible for everything that goes wrong in a relationship. Don't let this phrase shake your self-worth or assumption of guilt. Stand your ground, and remember, you are not the villain they paint you to be. Final thoughts. Here's the thing about narcissists. They thrive on control. The more they can make you feel guilty, the easier it is for them to manipulate the situation in their favor. But once you're aware of their tactics, you take back the power. It's not easy. I know firsthand how these conversations can leave you feeling drained. But awareness is your greatest ally. The next time you hear one of these guilt-tripping phrases, remember that you're not obligated to play their game. Set your boundaries, protect your peace, and most importantly, don't let their words define your worth. You've got this.